I'll launch it. Looks like they're starting, so. Hello everyone, this is Jeff Moriarty with Fox 10 News Now, and we are going to hop right into it this morning. We have a lot of news going on. First thing, we are going to Cottonwood with a press conference. The police department there has released the video from a officer-involved shooting. So we're going to go right up to Cottonwood with Steve Kraft is there.
After we're done, I do have jump drives with the video on it to issue to all of you guys to take back to your respective companies and go from there. I can only answer questions about what you will see on the video, okay? I can't answer questions about anything prior to the video or after the video because that is part of DPS's investigation. And quite honestly, I am not privileged to most of the information because it is all in DPS's hands. So for me to answer a question about that stuff would be premature because I have not received a copy of the report from DPS either. So with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. I know some of you, one of the first thing you're going to ask me is my name. I am Jody Fanning, the Chief of Police for the City of Cottonwood, and it's Jodyfanning. This event was March 21st at the Cottonwood Walmart. If it's going to play for us, we're going to be in great shape. But I'm not sure why it's not.
It's just on sleep mode.
Why is it on sleep mode? What would you like me to talk about? One of the things that I also want to talk to you guys about is I want to thank the media for the way that they have handled this and not jumped to any kind of conclusions. You guys have been very professional about that, and I appreciate it. As you'll see in here, there's an immense amount of restraint on my officer's part. There is multiple situations where much more worse things could have occurred, and I am extremely proud of my officers for the restraint that they showed during the event.
Talk to us about the officers' conditions. I know that 2 of them were shot.
No, only one officer was actually shot, and that was Sergeant Jeremy Daniels. He is home resting. They have removed the bullet from his leg. They removed it last week. He is in considerable amount of pain, but he is healing at home. He has come into the station for a couple events for the awards ceremony last week. Or earlier this week, and a couple other things. There is one other officer that is back out on light duty. That is Officer Sturley. He sustained some injuries to his foot, one of his feet. He originally came back to work after a few days off. However, the injury has not went away, and the doctors have put him back out on limited duty. So other than that, the rest of the officers are fully functioning. And have all pretty much healed up physically.
I just want to confirm, I'm just getting this from our headquarters, that this video that we're about to see is releasable for Fox's case, any of the Fox stations across our network?
I have no problem with that, yes. Yes.
And all total, how many officers were injured?
There were Hicks, Mary, Sturley, Clark, and Daniels. There was 5 total that were injured, 4 of which were only injuries to their wrists and their feet and scratches and scrapes. As you'll see in the video, the suspects, they go for the officers' faces, their eyes, their ears, their noses. That's what they grab and they rip at, and you'll see that in the video. The suspects, as you'll see, is a family. They're a very close-knit family. The catalyst basically is when the officers, in the 8-on-8, I'll go ahead and clear that right now, there was never 8-on-8. It was never 8-on-8. The original 4 officers that you're going to see right here, which is Sergeant Daniels, Officer Hicks, Officer Sturley, and Officer Brandon Clark. They were the original 4 officers. They are on scene from the onset. Those 4 officers are the ones that are involved in the main battle up to and including the time that Sergeant Daniels is shot. The other 4 officers arrive after Sergeant Daniels is shot and begin the cleanup. Officer Dobrinsky immediately goes to rescue mode on Sergeant Daniels. Officer Dobrinsky is a retired firefighter paramedic from the Sedona Fire Department who is now a police officer. He starts medical on Sergeant Daniels, and the others, Sergeant Murray, Sergeant Fredette, and Officer Strickland begin engaging these suspects. So with that said, I'll go ahead and start the video at this point. What you see here is, this is Officer Brandon Clark. Officer Tate Sturley is the car that has the in-car camera system. The other 2 cars, Officer Clark's car and Officer Hicks' cars, had in-car camera systems. However, they were malfunctioning that night because of technical issues. Why, I don't know, but unfortunately they were not. We wish they were, but they were not. Officer Sturley's was, and his is parked absolutely in the best position to capture 95% of the incident. Chris, if you go ahead and shut the lights off, I'll go ahead and start it. As I said, I'm going to go ahead and play this full speed. I'm not going to narrate this right now because it is too chaotic, and I'll let you watch it, observe it, then we'll go back and we'll go to quarter speed, at which time I'll narrate and point out what's going on. I will tell you that this is the Walmart employee right here in the gray shirt.
I'm sorry.
The battle for the gun has already begun. That's what this fight is in the corner right there. They're fighting for the gun on the ground. That's where Sergeant Daniels gets shot. So that's it on full speed. As you can see, it's an extremely chaotic incident that explodes almost immediately. The catalyst, as I said, is when Officer Hicks says we need to separate these people to talk to them. And the father and one of the brothers states that there's absolutely no way you're going to separate my family. And when I slow it down in slow motion in quarter speed, as you'll see, as Officer Sturley approaches and gets near the mother and the daughter, one of the suspects runs through the crowd and tries to cut off Officer Sturley and tries to push him backwards. Sergeant Daniels grabs a hold of one gentleman to pull him out of the crowd to interview him, and everything blows up. One of the subjects then turns and punches Officer Hicks in the throat, and the fight begins. When we go into quarter speed, you'll see Officer Clark over here on the right-hand side fighting with one of the suspects, and Enoch, the one that is deceased, comes from off screen, and that we were not aware of him at that point, and attacks Officer Clark. Then the battle continues. As you can see from the video again, had it not been for that Walmart employee, I believe that there would have been a whole lot more damage done to both sides of this group, both on the police side and the suspect side, because the officers would have been easily overwhelmed. You can also see that these people, the weapons and tactics that we had deployed, they don't work. They didn't work. The tasers, they've been taught to roll when they get shot with the tasers. As you'll see in the video, if you're closely watching, and I'll point it out on slow speed, when they get tased, they roll to try to break the strings so the electricity stops. They block the asps. They don't care about the asps. They take multiple hits from the asps. They don't really care. They get pepper sprayed. They don't really care. They get punched. They don't really care. They just continue to go on and on and on. Their main mode of fight is to grab the officers' faces, eyes, ears, and mouth and try and pull as hard as they possibly can. And that's where most of the officers' injuries come from, is them ripping at their faces. They don't do a lot of punching, obviously, with our bulletproof vests. That does little to no damage to us. However, ripping at our faces does. So we'll go ahead and start it now on quarter speed and let you see it, and so I can try to explain it a little bit more to you. Quit. Oh, come on, seriously? Okay, this is quarter speed. I need to have it muted, otherwise you have to listen to some very You'll notice there's nobody standing right here. That's why we are not aware of Enoch. Come on. Then do it. Or actually, I know what to do. That's Hicks, that's Daniels, that's the Walmart employee right there. This is Officer Sturley. This gentleman right here, which is, I believe, David, he sees Officer Sturley approaching. You'll see him, he's going to come through the crowd and block Officer Sturley from getting close to his mom and his sisters, or his sister. He grabs at Officer Sturley. Officer Sturley tries to keep him from grabbing his hand. He smacks Officer Sturley's hand. And then Sergeant Daniels grabs a gentleman there, and then this gentleman right here is going to punch Hicks in the throat, and then they go to the ground. The big one here, Nathaniel, he grabs at Sergeant Daniels' face. Officer Clark's going to pull him off, and you're going to see Enoch come in from out of nowhere and deliver a pretty good blow to Officer Clark, and then he gets him again with a second blow. Takes him to the ground. However, Officer Clark is able to recover. Most of Officer Clark and Enoch's fight occurs off screen over here. They're pretty much one-on-one for a long time. Officer Sturley is right here on the ground. Officer Hicks is right here fighting this gentleman. However, the father is going to intervene and stop Officer Hicks from engaging this person here, who then will turn and attack Officer Sturley, and you'll see him go immediately to the face and start ripping on the face. Officer Hicks will come back in and tase this gentleman. However, it will do little to no good because he will only roll with the taser and continue to hold on to Officer Sturley's face. Officer Hicks hits him with the taser right there. He rolls and pulls Sturley by the face, by the ear actually. Then he loses hold for just a brief second, but he grabs a hold of his shirt and hangs onto his shirt and his outer vest carrier and holds it forever. At no time does the mother ever try to get the 11-year-old and herself out of this entire mess or melee. She keeps that 11-year-old right there the entire time. At no time does the mother or the father ever try to convince the children to just stop, to quit, to comply in any way. The only thing they do is yell at us that we are Nazis. Officer Sturley will come through. He makes minor contact with the mother and daughter. He does not assault them in any way, trying to keep them as just plain bystanders that are blocking. Officer Hicks is on the ground here. The father is now on top of Sergeant Daniels again with one of the brothers, or grabbing a hold of Sergeant Daniels right there. Officer Sturley will tase the father. However, he has a big heavy winter coat and the darts won't get through the heavy winter coat and do any damage or stop the father in any way. The Walmart supervisor will make the Walmart employee stop, and he will comply, only for a brief moment, because this subject right here will immediately go over and grab Sergeant Daniels by the face again. Officer Daniels is on the ground on his back right there. That's Officer Daniels' head right there, or Sergeant Daniels' head right there. He gets back up almost to where he can control it. The father's going to interject, and this one's going to come in and grab him. The mother tries to grab Sergeant Daniels, but this one will grab him by the face and pull on his nose and eyes. He loses grip, but the other brother grabs immediately for the face again. Walmart employee comes back in and tries to stop this one from doing any more damage.
So lady in the blue is Walmart employee?
That's a Walmart supervisor, yes ma'am. That's the first taser hit that actually works. The gentleman doesn't see it coming, and we get a widespread, and it actually works on him. However, the second that the electricity is stopped, you'll see the gentleman, he is immediately right back up and into the fight. Sergeant Daniels has pretty much escaped this melee here, but he's going to see Officer Clark over here being overpowered by Enoch. So he has to go to Officer Clark's rescue to prevent Officer Clark from being overpowered. At this point, Officer Hicks is going to hit this gentleman with an asp, which we believe it breaks his arm right there, but you will notice in the entire fight, you will not see that it appears to have slowed him down at all. Again, the father will try to interject and get between. This one over here has now came over to assist Enoch with Officer Clark and Sergeant Daniels. So Officer Clark has to break away from Enoch and Sergeant Daniels to deal with him. Again, we're still over here dealing with these brothers and the father. The mother here, as you can see, she's reaching, but she is not reaching for her son. She is reaching for the officer trying to pull him away. Again, she doesn't tell her son to quit or anything else. That one there goes back over, and now Sergeant Daniels has 2 on him. Officer Clark right there has to back away because he knows he's about to have 2 on him with the largest of the bunch coming, and he is incredibly strong, so he has to back away. Officer Sturley is dealing with this gentleman right here who has a cane and has started hitting people with the cane. Officer Sturley has his weapon out, but he can't shoot because of the backdrop. There's officers and other people in the way, so he can't shoot. He tries to rotate to make it a clear shot. Finally, the father takes the cane away from him and makes him drop it. Weapons go away. However, the 15-year-old in this one's going to see that Enoch and the other ones are not winning over here, so they will head over there to start that fight again. The fight for the gun has already started. Their hands are right here on the ground. Sergeant Daniels has yelled already that they have my gun. However, nobody can hear it because of the pure chaos that's happening. Officer Hicks will strike this gentleman again with an asp, but you'll see again it does absolutely nothing to deter him from his attack. We're back over here. At this point, the suspect has actual control of Sergeant Daniels' gun. Sergeant Daniels gets a hold of it again, and they're going to continue to fight. You'll see down here on the ground the flashlight illuminate in just a little bit, which is the flashlight that's mounted to the weapon. The officers are doing everything they can to stop these people that are in control of the weapon, but there's too many of them, and the people, nothing that they do, no punches, no kicks, no strikes with the asp seem to deter them. At this point, Officer Clark pepper sprays this gentleman very well right in the face. However, he will only walk over here for a few seconds, and then he will go back. The weapon is on the ground right there, with Sergeant Daniels fighting for it and the 2 brothers. That's the light from the weapon going on and off. Sergeant Daniels will almost escape with the weapon right here in just a second, but they grab a hold of him and able to bring him down, and he bumps into this gentleman right here. You'll see the weapon come out in Sergeant Daniels' hands right there. He's finally in control of it, and he tries to escape. And as soon as he does, they pull him back down and grab a hold of the weapon. They grab the weapon, and pull him back down. Now then the 2 of them are back in front of him, and this one's going to grab him by the face and the head and pull him backwards again, putting him on his back. Again, the mother comes in to reach at the sergeant. She doesn't go in to reach for her family to stop them in any way. He pulls Sergeant Daniels backwards by the ears and the eyes onto the ground, which puts that subject right on top of him, in control of the weapon. The weapon is right there. It's actually, at that point, it is actually pointed at his abdomen. He will get it rotated, which makes it go to the leg. You'll see a very brief flash in just a little bit where the weapon actually goes off. You're going to see Officer Hicks come in and start striking this gentleman with the asp, which he strikes him multiple times, and it does absolutely nothing. He won't stop. He won't turn loose. Hicks is aware that the weapon is out, and they're fighting for it at this point. But they will not turn loose no matter what we do. That one comes in to try to stop Hicks from striking the others who are still fighting for the weapon down there. Hicks is going to draw his weapon. This one charges as soon as he draws the weapon. He sees him go to the weapon, and he charges as soon as he does. Hicks fires and hits this gentleman right here in the abdomen, and then shoots the Enoch, who is on top in control of the weapon still. That one goes down. However, the other brother still has a hold of the weapon. Sergeant Daniels is right there. The other brother's right there. Officer Sturley's going to kick him twice to the head, trying to get him to turn loose. However, he won't turn loose. He continues to hold on to the weapon. At this point, Officer Sturley thinks about shooting him, but he decides that he can't shoot him because if it penetrates through him, he will hit his own sergeant. So he holsters his weapon and tries, and ultimately will come across here and grab a hold of the suspect and pull him physically off. But not before this one tries to intervene again. You can see they're still fighting for the gun. The gun's there and the brother still has a hold of it. He finally turns loose right there. We're not sure why he decides to turn loose, but he does. But he goes back at it, and Officer Sturley will be able to grab him and pull him off. Again, the mother and the other daughter is still standing right there. At this point, Sergeant Daniels has his weapon back in control. However, it's malfunctioning. You'll notice that they keep putting their hands up. In this incident, the hands up does not mean we surrender. As you'll see, they never surrender. They will raise their hands up and they will walk around like they are surrendering. And then when they get close enough to an officer, they'll attack. As you heard on the audio version, at all times you'll hear officers yelling, "Get down on the ground, get down on the ground." At no time will any of them ever surrender. As you've seen this one right there, he was crouched down kind of like an animal. We're not sure why he was doing that other than resting. I don't know. But he doesn't take very long and he's back into the confrontation. The backup 4 officers are arriving right now. That's, again, you see Matt Strickland come in. That one right there will immediately step over the brother's body and confront him. Sergeant Murray will show up right here. Officer Dobrinsky will show up here and take care of Sergeant Daniels, and then Sergeant Fredette will come around that side. This one here is going to step across his brother to confront Matt Strickland. Matt Strickland tries to grab a hold of him. That's not happening, and then the battle will continue with them. As he's confronting this one, the other one's going to come around and then again confront Officer Strickland. So Strickland breaks away from him and is dealing with, that's Jeremiah there. Sergeant Murray will then confront this one. Again, remember, this one has been shot. However, you cannot tell that by looking at him and the way he will fight. Strickland has to break away because these two are coming in behind him. And they've already figured out you don't let one of these guys get a hold of you, on top of you, or behind you. Strickland goes off camera for a while to deal with this one. Sergeant Fredette tases this gentleman right here, the large one, and you'll see him, he rolls in order to try to break the wires. Officer Sturley, who is one of my more physically fit officers, is going to try to pull this gentleman's arm behind his back. He is not capable of doing that. The gentleman is too strong, will not allow that to happen. Not going to happen. When we ultimately do arrest that gentleman, you'll see him sitting here beside the body there. When we ultimately do put him in handcuffs, it takes 4 officers to physically overpower him and put the handcuffs on him. Sergeant Fredette and Officer Sturley are trying to deal with him right now, but Sergeant Fredette's going to have to break away because the 15-year-old is going to come back in from behind him. Sergeant Murray is trying to tase the one that's been shot right there. He gets his taser out and the kid's going to get up and escape. Sergeant Fredette starts dealing with him, who again is going to combat anybody. You can hit them as hard as you want to. They don't care. You'll watch, he's going to put his hands up as he's running away from Sergeant Murray. Who's trying not to do any more than he has to, and he puts his hands up, and then he's going to come in and he's going to club Sergeant or Officer Clark right across the throat and spin him, and then tangle the wires from the taser around him, which drops Officer Clark. He then gets hit with an asp from Officer Hicks. He will raise his hands a little bit, but that's about all he will do. Officer Dobrinsky is over here still administering aid to Sergeant Daniels. Officer Sturley is right there, the large one. He's just going to stand up with Officer Sturley on his back. He doesn't really care. He tries to throw him down, but that's not going to happen. And then Jeremiah is right on his back. 15-year-old's going to, or that one's going to get hit again with the asp. He acts like somebody swatted a fly on his back. They kind of bunch up here again for a little bit. Sergeant Murray goes in to try to get a hold of Jeremiah, but it can't. He's going to punch this guy right here pretty much with everything he's got. You'll see him shake his hand from the pain it caused in his hand, and this guy does absolutely nothing. It does not faze him at all. Then you're going to watch him in just a second. He's going to hold his hands up while Officer Hicks is standing here with the asp over his head. He's going to crouch down with his hands up like he's surrendering. And then you'll see him come up with the cane and start striking Sergeant Murray in the back of the neck with the cane. See, his hands are up. I give up. I give up. He crouches down. Officer Hicks isn't going to do anything because he's given up. He's getting down on the ground, and then boom, he hits Sergeant Murray in the back of the head with the cane. He continues to attack Sergeant Murray with the cane. Officer Sturley and Officer Hicks go to gun. However, they know that they can't shoot him because Sergeant Murray is directly behind him. They rotate trying to make a clear shot, and he will drop the cane. Weapons go back in the holsters. At this point, they bunch up again. There is still a battle over here with the other gentleman and the father, which we can't see. There's two officers over here right now, or actually I believe there's three officers. Yes, there's three officers over here right now. Officer Sturley's going to pepper spray these gentlemen as they go by. Again, they don't really care. They just kind of walk through it. He will pepper spray this gentleman pretty sufficiently, and I think that's ultimately why he decides to quit. You'll see the pepper spray in just a second. They walk over this way. They get entirely too close to the downed officer and Officer Dobrinsky and act like they're indifferent to what's going on, which raises the fear in Officer Dobrinsky and Sergeant Daniels, who's laying there shot, thinking they're coming at me again. We don't shoot, but we do draw, and they finally back off. Officer Clark right there finally gets rid of the cane to where nobody can hit us again with it. Again, they always have their hands up, but they are not surrendering. In no way are they surrendering. Or are they complying with anything we tell them to do? This one's seen the dad and the other one over here fighting, so he's going to head over that direction where the other fight's at. Officer Clark will see that, and he's going to head over there and try to confront him again. This one pretty much stays out of the fight the rest of the night. He stays there beside the body until it's time for us to we get the rest of them all under control and we come back to handcuff him. Officer Sturley at this point sees somebody over there in need. He heads over there, and this one's going to immediately follow, as is Sergeant Murray and Officer Hicks, who is somewhat torn because he knows if he leaves this gentleman right here and he reactivates, these two are in jeopardy. one of the problems that Sergeant Daniels has is he's been pepper sprayed incredibly heavy too. He's having a very difficult time seeing, and we're aware of that because as you'll see in the video, if you watch it, you'll see him constantly wiping his eyes. At this point, Officer Florisi from Clarkdale Police Department has arrived. In just a moment, you're going to see Jeremiah come out from right in here, and you'll see him just start rolling across. He's been tased, and he knows to roll. If you roll, you break the wires. There's no more electricity. At this point, Officer Hicks has to go over there to help aid one of the other officers because he knows that he has to. So he leaves these two hoping that this one doesn't reactivate. That gentleman there kicks Officer Clark in the groin. At this point, we can't tase anybody. We have no more taser cartridges left. We've deployed every taser cartridge on the officers there. Officer Florisi from Clarkdale Police Department is the only one that has a taser cartridge remaining, which she will use on the one that rolls across here in just a few seconds. At this point, we're starting to get some of them subdued and trying to get them into handcuffs. But as the officers told me, there was no way any one officer could handcuff one of these suspects. It takes multiple officers to handcuff them because of the way they will fight and they will kick. You can't pull their arms behind them and get them handcuffed by yourself. So we have to team up on them, which they begin to do. You're going to see the one come out right now. When Officer Sturley turns around, you'll notice he's missing the patch off his left arm. One of the suspects physically grabbed a hold of his arm and ripped the patch off, which is incredibly difficult to do, but he does it. I don't know how. Again, as you can see, he's rolling. He knows to roll. That's not your standard procedure for a person to do. As he rolls back over, Officer Sturley and Sergeant Murray and Officer Florisi will finally get him into custody. He is in handcuffs. The rest of them are back here trying to get the others in handcuffs. It's about this point where they finally get him rolled over, and then Sergeant Murray will come in behind and try to hold his legs down while Officer Florisi and Sturley try to handcuff him, and they succeed. Obviously, this is the vehicle the family was in. He still continues to kick, but at this point he can't kick anybody. Officer Florisi will stay there with him after they get him handcuffed. We quickly learned after handcuffing one of them, you can't leave them alone, because if you leave them alone, they will get up again and they will attack by kicking and headbutting. So you have to, after you handcuff one of them, you have to assign an officer to stay with them. Again, one of the things I'm extremely proud about is the civilians that come in to help us. While this event is still occurring, we do not have this scene secured. These guys come in to help us to get this sergeant out of here. I'm very impressed with those young men. I'm also, as I've said before, incredibly impressed with my officers. At no time in here have you ever seen any of my officers administer any kind of street justice or anything else that anybody would like to call it. They do everything to try to avoid harming these people as much as possible. However, they absolutely will not comply with anything we ask them to do. What they will do is they're going to load him into a patrol car, because we know that fire and EMS will not come into the scene yet because the scene is not secure. So they're going to load him into Officer Sturley's patrol car, which is the video, and that's why we lose video, because they load him into the Tahoe, which is the closest one to the scene, to get him out of there. They leave there, they're driving down the road, the ambulance comes towards them. Again, Officer Dobrinsky is aware that the time he needs to get Sergeant Daniels to the hospital is crucial. He also is aware that there's more walking wounded out here, and he feels it's better to just go ahead and go straight to the hospital with Sergeant Daniels and allow the ambulance and the fire company to come to the scene and begin administering aid to everybody that's on the scene. The reason he's jumping like that is Officer Sturley threw him a taser that was still active. Had no cartridges, but it's kind of like playing hot potato. At this point, we got them pretty much corralled up over here. We're starting to get them physically under control. I believe we have at least the younger one in handcuffs at this point, and then we have the one over here in handcuffs. This one here is still not in handcuffs, nor is the mom or anybody else, and I believe the dad is not handcuffed yet over here. But he is, at this point, not doing anything. They begin to regroup and try to analyze what we're going to do and how we're going to do it to make sure that nothing else happens. Officer Hicks is still over there monitoring what's happening. Again, the mother only wants to blame us. At no time would the mother or the father ever try to get their children to comply with anything we ask them to do. I believe at this point is the first time that most of these guys determined that he has been shot. They weren't sure that he had been shot because of the chaos. They didn't know. You can see that Sturley's patch is missing. As I said, it's incredibly difficult to grab a hold of a police patch and rip it off. That's taser wire hanging from his back. And this is where the Tahoe leaves the scene. As you can see, if Officer Hicks's video was working, we would have had very good video of that side. However, I don't know what the issue was with his. Officer Clark's had been down for service and had not gotten repaired yet or rebooted. They've all been fixed at this point, unfortunately. That's it. Did you hit the lights, detectives? That's it in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, the only thing I can do at this point is answer questions directly related to the video. I can't answer any questions prior to the video or after the video because I quite honestly do not have that information, simply because I have not been privileged to the interviews with the officers involved yet.
Can you explain the family dynamic? It was 8 people, mom, sister, dad, and 5 boys?
Mom, dad, sister, and 5 boys.
Okay. And they're all Garvers, of the Garvers?
As far as we understand, yes.
And then which suspect actually shot the officer?
Enoch, the one that is deceased, was the one that was in control of the weapon at the time. As you can see in the video, he is on top of Sergeant Daniels with the weapon.
The one that was deceased, that was the one that was in the corner? Or was there were at the end, he was just laying there?
Yes.
Okay. Which officer shot you?
That would have been Officer Hicks.
So there were 2 guns involved?
Yes.
Daniels and Hicks?
Yes.
Do we know what they were doing in Arizona and in Cottonwood?
Excuse me?
Do we know what they were doing in Cottonwood?
No, I do not know that.
Where do you think they learned those type of techniques you mentioned, the taser, the roll, how does that even happen?
To be honest with you, I'm not exactly certain. I personally have never seen that tactic applied, so I'm not certain where they learned it. Obviously, somebody has taught them that.
Do we believe they were on some type of drug to be able to...
I would love to be able to tell you that they were, but at this point I have no evidence that they were.
After watching the video, do you feel like the shooting was justified? I mean, it looked like he was shooting him at point-blank range, shooting Enoch right in the head.
Yes, I believe it was justified. He still had control of Sergeant Daniels' weapon. He was on top of Sergeant Daniels, and Sergeant Daniels had been shot.
Do any of these suspects have any prior record?
Not that I'm aware of, but again, I am not privy to all of their information simply because DPS is running the investigation.
And then the family is screaming you're hitting children. I heard you mention the 15-year-old. Was that the only child?
Involved? Yes.
Okay.
And they yell you're hitting children multiple times, but as you've seen from the video, they are not fighting like children.
Can you confirm the last name is in fact Garver?
Gaver, G-A-V-E-R.
So it's Gaver.
Yes.
In this video, while you guys, it's commendable that the civilians stepped in and helped out. In a situation like that, would you recommend that they just shouldn't do something like that? What's your take on that?
I would have to say it's a incident by incident response. If you see an officer that is obviously being overpowered, then yes, as citizens, we should assist. But if the officers have the incident under control, then yes, I would ask that the people stay out of the way. and not get involved, because the officers most of the time will not know who you are, and they will not know if you are friend or foe. We are very familiar with Mr. Fields from Walmart because of our interactions with him at the loss prevention at Walmart. So the officers are very familiar with him. The other two gentlemen that approached, they were very non-threatening. They asked and they checked with Mr. Dobrinsky before they approached to make sure he understood they were friends and wanted to assist. So, but it's a case-by-case scenario that you would have to look at.
At what point was an ambulance called? Or?
The ambulance was called immediately when Officer Dobrinsky arrived on scene. He was the first one to be able to call for an ambulance.
Do you know how long it took for ambulance to arrive?
Our ambulance arrives approximately 2 minutes after this, I think it is, 2 or 3 minutes after they leave. Again, the ambulance won't come on scene when it's still a hostile scene. They're not going to jeopardize their medical staff until the scene is secured and controlled by us. So they have to stay out there until we get every one of those people secured.
Was the ambulance there but waiting for the...
Yes, they arrive, as I said, briefly after Officer Dobrinsky leaves with Sergeant Daniels. They arrive at the Larry Green's Chevrolet right across the road, and they stand by until we can get the scene secured, and then they come in.
And how much longer was it until the scene was secured?
Probably another 3 to 4 minutes before we have them all physically handcuffed and the scene is secured.
The initial call out there was an assault on a Walmart employee.
Yes.
What did that entail?
All I can tell you is that I was told that one of the Walmart employees was shoved down to the ground by one of the brothers for trying to get into the restroom. I can't tell you which brother. I have not seen the Walmart video. The Walmart video was taken by DPS from Walmart. I have never seen it. That's all I've been told.
Was it the gentleman that participated in the fight?
Yeah, I would have to assume yes, because all of them did participate, and that's all of the brothers.
Do you know if there, other than Walmart video, was there any other video?
There was some cell phone video that the Department of Public Safety has been given, but from my understanding, it's an extremely long-range cell phone video, very dark. You can't really make anything out except for a large event of people moving. I have not been told of any video that is substantive at all.
When the officers showed up, with that Walmart employee that helped out, he was already out there, correct?
He followed them out from the inside of the store.
Okay, so was he, so it looks like, so he followed them out?
Yes.
So was he involved in the bathroom incident?
I don't believe he was involved. He was in Walmart working, but he was involved. He was not. I can't say he was involved.
It says there was a video around the bathroom area.
I believe there is, yes, and Department of Public Safety has that. I do not.
Were they all living in that one kind of
That is our understanding, yes. They live,
people or whatever?
yes, they all live inside that. Any other questions? Again, I want to thank you very much for coming up here. I want to thank you again for your professionalism and your support. I believe, as you see here in the video, my officers did an amazing job for the situation that they were involved in, and I'm extremely happy that no more people got injured any worse than they did in this incident. I truly wish it had never happened, but unfortunately it did. And we will move on and move forward. Thank you.
Is there anything that you would advise officers in training in response?
And analyze it multiple times to try to find ways to better ourselves. Yes, I mean that's what we do when we analyze everything we do to try to always make ourselves better and smarter and not have to hurt people any more than we have to. So yes, we will analyze it extremely well. All right, thank you very much. I have this, as I said.
Okay, this is Jeff Moriarty, and he tricked me there. It was going back to bring something across here. There we go. Looked like he was going to end, and then it looked like he wasn't. So let's have another camera adjustment here. So, thank you everybody who's been joining us this morning. That was a press conference from the Cottonwood Police Department on the release of dashcam footage in a shooting outside a Walmart. It was a brawl between some people who had been staying in the parking lot. And there was a scuffle inside the Walmart, and a Walmart employee called police. Police showed up, and it escalated. If you've been with us for the past hour and saw that footage, it is absolutely incredible. It is a just full-on brawl, and it's amazing to me that more people were not injured. All right, so got to request turn the mic up a little bit. Let's see what I can do there. All right. Well, you should be able to hear me. If you can't, let me know. We've been doing some work here on the set, changing some things around, doing some audio work. So if you can't hear me, you have any problems with audio or video, let me know right away. All right. There's also a delay, so hopefully the audio boost will kick in here in just a moment. Let me try boosting that up as well. All right, so let me know. Okay. Back to the recap of the video here. So when this happened, one officer was shot in the leg. He is recovering. Another suspect was killed, and the police just released this footage. Steve Kraft was up there. I'm going to see if we might be able to get him in for an interview and discussion of kind of what happened. I have a package from the original, let's see here, from the original fight. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull that up here. All right, see if I can bring up the original package on that to show you. My name is Jeff Moriarty, if you didn't catch that from the lovely little lower third. I'm filling in for Samia Khan, who has the day off. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Fox 10 News Now. We try to cover streaming news, breaking news, things going on online, things that we can cover in depth and in long form that you can't always see online. You'll see clips of that video throughout the news, I'm sure all across the world today. That was an incredible video. But only here are you going to see the entire thing. So we appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to see if I can get that full package, or we can get... don't see Steve Kraft, so we will kind of play it by ear. We will have that entire package on our YouTube channel later if you want to look at it. The chief of police broke it down in great detail, went through step by step, showing the entire footage. I'm uploading that now. And, all right, get that done. Multitasking heavily. Normally I work behind the scenes helping Sami with a lot of these things. Since I can't be both behind the scenes and on camera, I'm doing double duty and have a few other people helping me out today. All right, so the package is coming on that original Cottonwood shooting. We are also going to be looking at a FBI announcement today in a 20-year-old train derailment case. Now, if you've been in Arizona for a long time, you might remember the Sunset Limited train left out of Phoenix, and someone tampered with the lines way out in the middle of the desert near Hyder, Arizona. And they not only tampered with the tracks, but they rigged it so that the train would not know. They bypassed the alert that would send a signal that somebody had tampered with the train. So once the train hit it, there was derailment. I believe at least one person was killed, and the FBI has been investigating ever since. There was a note left at the scene, but no one has ever been caught. So we will be looking at a FBI recap of the investigation so far, and a rather substantial reward in this cold case. So, yes, people asking about Courtney. It's a shame she is off today. No, thank you. Do you want to come up here and say hi, Jen? No. I'm being offered. I'll show these to our viewers, but I'm going to give them right back. Well, one of the perks of being in the studio here, we get tasty goodness. Another reason Samia is disappointed to be missing today. Goody, goody goodness. Always coming through the station. You got those? All right. So those are making their way around the newsroom, and I am not going to partake because I have a weakness for sweets, so I'm going to pass on those. Anyway, we'll be covering that. There were some impressive tornadoes in Illinois, did a lot of damage to a lot of homes. We've got some footage from that. Fight for some the installation of some power lines here in the valley, and more stories. So yeah, there is a lot going on. Our cameras, unfortunately, here aren't really detachable, or I would pan it around and show you everybody buzzing around. The court is off today. However, I will remind you that Monday, starting at 8:30, we are going to hit the ground running. Let's see, I got a comment about the background noise. Let me see what I can do about that. It's tricky because we sit in an open studio here. It's just one big room. And when things get buzzing, it's hard to kind of pick that up. So I'm going to see if I can rearrange the mic here, maybe reduce some of that. And let me know how that works out. Angle the mic this way. One of the things I love about Fox 10 News Now, this whole idea is that we can get that kind of interaction real time. Something's wrong, or you've got a thought or a comment on a story, you can let us know. We can respond. Our chat room regulars have been fantastico about helping us with stuff on the in the past, and appreciate that quite a bit. All right. Okay. Set a note here. We're working to get Steve Kraft set up to do a hit on the recap of the Cottonwood. I'd like to close out on this story before we move on, because that video, again, I'm not a TV guy. I joined because I'm all about the social media, this integration, this connection, and not the TV background. So a lot of this stuff's new to me. That video was something else. Even a lot of the regulars here in the newsroom was like, that is just incredible, incredible video. So, let's see here. Hello, Mia. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
You talking to yourself again?
No, I'm not. I'm online. Mia Garcia is right over behind the camera here. Did you have some news for me, or are you just saying hi? Wow. So she is just coming by to say hi, which is very nice of her. She is a absolutely fantastic person, in addition to being an excellent reporter. And what are you out to cover today?
We are going to get a statement from Governor Ducey on the passing of former Governor Castro.
Oh, yes. So, former Governor Castro of Arizona passed away today, and Mia Garcia is off to get a statement from current Governor Ducey about his passing, and we'll be covering that later as well. Hopefully we'll have Mia on a little bit later. She loves being up here with Samia. I'll see if I can do a suitable stand-in and persuade her to join me. All right, so just typing a note out to coordinate this hit with Steve Kraft when I see him coming online. I think that's the bulk of the big stories. If we get a chance to it, I saw some people talking about Tech Talk. The Apple Watch comes out today. I have honestly not had a chance to take a look at it and see how the numbers are going. I'm sure there's people out there reviewing it and so on at the Apple Store. I do have the Cottonwood package on the shooting, which I'm going to queue up and play here in just a minute. We also have some new Periscope fans. Actually, we can do that real quick. Hey, Jill, excuse me for just a second.
Yeah. Do I have food on my face? I
You
just
do
ate
not
some Good Morning
know.
Show food.
So
Hey.
We're right over here.
Oh,
so
yeah.
so this is I've got your mic on. So this is Jill Monier.
Hi, guys.
And she is the latest convert to.
Periscope.
Yes.
Yeah, I just started periscoping. So I periscoped one thing the other day, and it was my
Move over a little
photographer
bit.
editing my story in like 20 minutes. We had 20 minutes to edit the story, and so he's like, you know, how fast they are on the keyboard doing all this stuff. It was pretty cool. So
we're hoping to use it a lot more. So if you like
Yeah.
Periscope, what's your Twitter handle?
I think, is it the same as my Twitter handle?
Yes.
Yes, it's Jill Monier Fox 10.
There we go. Jill Monier Fox 10. Monier
Yeah.
Fox 10. Follow her on Twitter. She tweets a lot, covers a lot of great stories, and now you'll see her periscoping, and you're going to do one today definitely if people follow you.
I don't know what it's gonna be yet. We're heading down to Country Thunder in Florence, which is this huge country concert. They have some really good. Are you a country music fan?
Not much of a, but I do know about Country Thunder.
Yes. So I like country music. So they have some really great people down there today. So we're heading down there. So I was dressed really nice. I had a dress on and shoes and these high heels.
She's
and they said you
always
should
dressed
probably change your clothes. So I have a go bag at my desk. So I just changed quickly into jeans and my Fox 10 shirt. And we were headed down there. I got to go find a cowboy hat.
Well, good luck with that. Make sure you
That's what
bring
I'm
the
gonna work
cowboy hat back here later on today, and we can put you back on to recap Country Thunder.
Okay. Sounds
All right.
good. See you
Thanks for
guys.
saying hi. All right. So thank you, Jill Monier, for popping up here. She was worried about food on her face, but please. She always looks fantastic, as does everybody around here except me and my hair. Thank you, and the people in the chat room for noticing. So we're still going to get Steve Kraft, but I have the original package queued up here. Oh, looks like he might be tuning in right now. Again, I wish we had a detachable camera so I could show you all these crazy screens and see what I am seeing. And yeah, we're going to go to the package right now. Let me go ahead and queue that up. Steve is just teasing me. All right, so this is the original package, I believe, with Linda Williams, covering the shooting in Cottonwood that we just saw the amazing video on. So let me take that over to you right now.
The violence erupted late Saturday night when 8 Cottonwood officers were attacked as they tried to confront 8 suspects about a disturbance at the Walmart store. Those officers feeling sore today, says Cottonwood Police Chief Jody Fanning.
They're doing well, but they are beat up pretty good.
This was an all-out, knock-down, drag-out battle.
Pretty much, yes. For a little over 10 to 15 minutes, it was just everybody fighting for everything they had.
During a struggle over an officer's gun, bullets started flying. A suspect was hit and killed, another suspect was wounded, and Cottonwood Police Sergeant Jeremy Daniels was hit in the leg. Sergeant Daniels recovering at Flagstaff Medical Center, and Chief Fanning says he could be released today. The video of the attack on the officers may not be released for some time, but Chief Fanning says it is stunning, watching suspects attack police officers.
Yes, I've never seen anything like this. I've been a police officer for 28 years. I've never seen of it or heard of it, anything like this.
From the outside on this Monday, it appears that things at Walmart are business as usual. But you talk to some of the people who live in this town, and they are still shaken up.
Yeah, and we're all concerned. I mean, I've been talking to people all day. A friend of mine found out what happened from someone in Kansas. She calls her up and says, "Hey, what's going on there?"
We're really shocked. You know, at first in almost disbelief that something like that would happen in this peaceful hamlet.
All right, so that was the original package from Linda Williams talking about the shooting, and now we can see what the police chief there was talking about when he said this was amazing footage. He was absolutely right. That was absolutely fantastic. Well, fantastic from terms of a visual standpoint. It's horrible what went down, what those officers went through. But just looking at the mugshots and everything else from that parking lot, you would not guess it was a full-on brawl like it was. So we have Steve Kraft now. He was actually up at this news conference for that hour looking at the whole situation up there, and we are going to go over to him and get an update on what he's seen or what's happened up in Cottonwood. So, Steve, any other thoughts on the release of this video? Can't hear him. Getting no audio.
I can hear him here.
All right, we're having trouble hearing Steve. We're going to work on that in just a second. All right, not sure quite what was going on there. Technical stuff from in the field. All right, so we're going to go back to Steve. Take two.
Got too many things here. Okay, we're here outside the Cottonwood Police Headquarters. Obviously, a very graphic video. I want to get to it right away because that's really why we came up here, to look at this video released by police today. It's a dash cam video from an officer's patrol car that shows this fatal confrontation outside the Walmart in the parking lot on a weekend night, about 11 o'clock at night. That left a man named Enoch Gaver dead, shot during a melee with police and members of his own family, and left an officer in this fight shot in the leg. As we look at this video, you can see officers came up and confronted this family after they got a report out of Walmart that a Walmart employee was kind of pushed to the ground, attacked basically, because members of this family had allegedly been inside the Walmart in a restroom where their mom was in the restroom and wouldn't let anyone else into the restroom, and then grew hostile when confronted. This situation spilled over into the parking lot. Police arrived on the scene, walked up to see what was happening, and basically, as you can see, it broke out almost immediately into much more than a scuffle, a melee, a brawl, and after a long, protracted struggle, an officer who had his gun wrested away from him was shot in the leg, and another officer coming to his aid shot and killed one of the members of the Gaver family. This was a group of street performers from Idaho who for some reason had come down to Cottonwood, all of them living in kind of a camper shell vehicle, like 8 members of a family, if I'm correct about this, and very hostile, fighting the police. The police tried to subdue them by just with their hands, and then with tasers and with billy clubs and any kind of non-lethal force they could muster. But at one terrible juncture in this, of course, an officer had his gun taken away from him, and that led to this chain of events that left one man dead. The police chief here, Jody Fanning, went through this video at full speed, and then he went through it at quarter speed, picking apart almost second by second exactly what went on in this confrontation. He showed numerous times how his officers tried their best to use non-lethal force, but nothing seemed to work. For some reason, this family understood that if they were tased and then they rolled on the ground, they could kind of shake loose those wires with the electricity in them that are the effective agents of a taser, diminishing the results of the taser. They were wearing thick coats. Officers were unable to really subdue them with billy clubs, and the sort of the wrestling match that happened was sort of inconclusive until this terrible moment when a gun was taken from an officer. So he defended his officers, saying they did everything they possibly could, and that this family, given repeated opportunities to surrender and to calm down, never did it. Many times they would raise their hands as if they were going to surrender, and then the police would approach, and then they would attack the cops. So what we saw today was a lot of information that's going to be very carefully looked at, showing exactly how the police did the very best they could in this very sad and tragic situation in Cottonwood last month. So that's the situation here in Cottonwood. Steve Kraft reporting for Fox News Now.
Well, thank you, Steve. Appreciate the recap. That was Steve Kraft up in Cottonwood. For those of you who've been with us this morning, we saw the full press conference from Cottonwood on the release of dash cam footage from an officer's car in the in the melee. There's a full-on brawl in the parking lot where one officer was shot and another suspect was killed. We also ran Linda Williams' package where we looked at the shooting at the time, and the chief then said he'd never seen anything like it, and neither have we. We will have that full recap on our YouTube channel a little bit later as soon as we get a chance to process it and ingest it. Or if you're watching this live, you can rewind and watch it here. Again, one of the advantages of watching this online. So we have some other material to move on to. Okay, great, thank you. All right, just getting an update on another package. We are going to go now to something else that was going on at the, oh, pardon me for just a second. We have a situation on our Skyfox here. I'm going to try to dial that in. Bear with me for just a second. Alright, so what we were going to here is Skyfox Arrow. This is there are two people stabbed and near I-17 in Anthem Way. One of them in very, very serious condition and is being evacuated. So we're working to get more information on this right now. Go. So not a chase, just actually a helicopter filming another helicopter at the moment. Whenever we get Skyfox footage, something interesting going on around town, we always want to bring that to you. It's usually rather interesting, and you get a view of the valley, literally, that you rarely get anywhere else. So again, we don't know a lot right here. Just two people stabbed, one of them being air evac'd from a hospital. Might appear that we are very close, but our helicopter keeps a very, very safe distance and just has a very, very good camera. So it looks like we are very close to this air evac here. One victim in a very critical condition and another with critical injuries but responding to medics. So this one is being evacuated, and we'll see if Skyfox stays with this scene for right now. Well, and there we go. So, the Skyfox has left, so we are not going to be carrying any more of that. Looks like we got there just as things were ending, which is just the way that happens sometimes, unfortunately. So we are going to go back to our other big story. This was actually happening at the same time as the Cottonwood press conference, and we were not able to go to it directly. So I'm going to work on putting that together for you right now. So back in 1995, I don't know if anyone remembers this, and now Skyfox is back. They love to do this to me. So I'm going to go back to Skyfox and see if they're going to stay with us here. So this is the scene near I-17 in Anthem. So this is near I-17 in Anthem. We've already seen one suspect evacuated via helicopter. Then we lost the feed there for a second. But we are back. The other one is apparently in very serious condition, but responding to medics on the scene. We'll maybe stay with this for a little bit and see if we see anything interesting via Skyfox. So right now we are over the scene at near I-17 in Anthem, where there has been a report of a double stabbing. We saw one victim evacuated via helicopter. And another victim is being treated at the scene. We see numerous police personnel investigating on the scene. Don't know more information yet. Waiting to hopefully learn more here soon. All right, and we have lost the feed again. It didn't look like there was a lot going on, so I'm going to assume that Skyfox was coming back, and I'm going to go make our, I think, my third, maybe fourth attempt to go to the next story that we had here. And that is the FBI at a press conference announcing a reward in the derailment of the train, the Sunset Limited, here in Arizona. Again, this was 20 years ago. To a comment in the chat room, if we are on aerials, you likely will not hear any audio. Sometimes we get noise signal from the helicopter and we feed that out. We actually filter that because it can be somewhere from uninteresting to really, really annoying. We have blown out people's eardrums. Sorry, Wendy, if my return caused you to blow out yours just now. But it's Friday, so you have all weekend to recover and hear your eardrums. So 1995, the Sunset Limited was derailed right outside of Hayter, Arizona. And there were typewritten notes found at the scene. It was a deliberate act of sabotage, not an accident. And the FBI has been investigating it ever since. There was extensive media coverage. If you have been in Arizona for more than 20 years and you remember this, let me know in the chat room. Again, I was surprised. I'm not a big train rider. I wasn't aware at the time there were even any trains still running through Arizona, passenger trains. And then to find out one derailed one morning was pretty amazing. Kel, I am not Canadian, but I was raised in Minnesota. Oh yeah, that's true there, don't you know? So very close to Canada, and a little bit of the accent there. And maybe sometime we can get together and go to my boat out on the lake. So yeah, a little bit of Minnesota in there. We're going to go now to the press conference. We're going to get the original package. Actually, we're going to do a guest appearance, for those of you who are not familiar with the case, from Ron Hoon. Ron Hoon is off this week on his own vacation, but a retro Ron Hoon will be making a guest appearance here. If I can find the story. There we go. All right, I'll get this queued up. All right. So this is a story that Ron Hoon did a while back on the Hayter crash, the Sunset Limited. And pull that up. And we're going to start here. Then we'll go over to the FBI press conference. And then Anita Roman was out covering that press conference, and we'll hear from her. So...
A helicopter glides down out of the night sky. It's part of a huge gathering of manpower at a remote site about halfway between Phoenix and Yuma. When the sun came up the morning of October 9th, 1995, the extent of the damage of a massive train derailment could finally be seen. It's hard to imagine in a city the size of Phoenix, you can't even catch an Amtrak train now. Amtrak discontinued service a while back, but on that fateful Sunday night going into early Monday morning, there were more than 200 people who left this train depot unaware of the fate that awaited them less than 100 miles down the tracks. Saboteurs, apparently working under the cover of night, had removed 19 spikes and one tie bar along the tracks. At 1:36 that morning, the train derailed.
It was the crew and the passengers who got almost everybody up before anybody else arrived at all.
And they asked for any able-bodied men to come and help them because they had to go bust the windows on those sleeper cars.
A lot of elderly people on the train. There was a gentleman who couldn't find his wife, but didn't know where his wife was, and he was real upset.
Like some kind of eerie scene from a nightmare, people walk away in a daze. When the dust clears, the numbers are staggering. More than 100 people are injured, and one, an Amtrak employee, is killed.
This took quite a bit of effort, a little bit of knowledge. There was also an effort to make sure that the system whereby the railroad would be notified that there was something wrong with the track was subverted.
Knowing how to bypass the railroad security system convinced the FBI they were dealing with someone who knew trains well. Where it happened gave them another clue.
I think it would be fair to say that the person had some knowledge of the area. It was a very remote location. It's not somewhere you would just stumble upon. I mean, I think you had to in some fashion be familiar with that area. Whether you had to live there then, I can't answer that. Did you have to live there at some point? Maybe. But you could just be someone who liked to hike out there, liked to hunt out there.
But the biggest clue of all came in the form of a typewritten note. Copies of it were left at the scene of the derailment. It describes in detail the writer's view of how the ATF and FBI purportedly tried to start the fire at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. It then goes on to say, who is policing the ATF? FBI, state troopers, county sheriffs, and local police. The Gestapo accounts to no one. This is not Nazi Germany. It is time for an independent federal agency to police the law enforcement agencies and other government employees.
Okay, so that was Ron Hoon reporting on the 1995 crash of the Sunset Limited. So you see we've had a few people join us, so thank you for doing that. This is Jeff Moriarty filling in for Samia Khan today, looking at some of the big stories that we've got going on, one of them being the FBI has announced a reward in this 20-year-old unsolved case. And this was a case of direct sabotage, not an accident. So Jonathan thinks that after 20 years, it's highly doubtful it'll ever be solved. You might be surprised, especially when a large sum of money is out there over time. People talk. Somebody gets casual, they think they're getting away with something. I mean, this had to be multiple people involved, and all it takes is one of them to let something slip, and they decide they want some of this cash, and the whole thing could open. It's happened before. Samia Khan is on vacation today, so I am her coworker. I do the social media programs here at the station and fill in once in a while, come in for a tech talk, or to fill in when Samia needs a break or has a day of vacation. Excuse me. So, we are now going to go to the press conference. This is the press conference in its entirety. This was going on at the time that there we go. This is going on at the time that we were looking at the Cottonwood press conference with the release of the dashcam video. If you've been with us all morning, you saw that. We'll be, I'm sure, talking about that again because it is incredible, incredible video. Looks like that this is about 15 minutes long. We'll play it full and uninterrupted. And well, I don't take anything wrong. I know Samia's got a lot of friends here. I appreciate all of you tuning in, and hopefully as we grow, as we're on the air more, bringing more content to you all day long, that will you'll see more faces up here. I think that television is a fantastic thing. The people here at Fox 10 are amazing, but more and more people are getting the news online. I love that people can watch us all over the world, chat with us from all over the world, watch us on their phones, wherever they happen to be. Something I really enjoy and appreciate. So I am going to take you now to this FBI press conference on the train derailment that we just watched a moment ago. And I have not seen this yet myself. Again, this was playing at the same time that I was watching the Cottonwood with you. This was recorded and pulled back around. So, cue this up.
Good morning. We all set? Good? So good morning. Thank you all for coming today. I'm Assistant Special Agent in Charge Mark Quiner, and we'd like to make a brief statement today concerning our ongoing investigation into the sabotage and derailment of the Amtrak Sunset Limited. So 19 and a half years ago, lives were changed forever when sabotage derailed the Sunset Limited with 258 persons on board. For many, the derailment is a distant memory occurring almost a decade, or a generation ago. However, for the family of Mitchell Bates, who was the sole fatality that night, it's very real. For Dan Comisano, who's here today and was a conductor on the train that evening, it's all too real. For him, the moments of the crash routinely resurface if they happened yesterday, and his life has been forever altered by those events. So it is for Mitchell and Dan, the 112 injured that day, and all 258 passengers on board that were here today. As you know, the FBI has a long history of perseverance, never quitting on investigations. We don't let the fear of time it will take to accomplish an investigation to actually stand in the way of doing it. The American people expect that from our agency, and we accept that responsibility. So we want the public and all those affected by the incident to know that we're going to continue to pursue this matter. We're dedicating our time, our effort to finally bring it to closure. But more importantly, today, we want to send a message to those responsible to this senseless act of sabotage. And that message is simple. We're very close, we are watching, and we will bring you to justice. So to help in that effort, and in conjunction with our partners at the United States Attorney's Office, the Maricopa County District Attorney's Office, and Amtrak, we are here to announce a $310,000 award for those of you that possess information that will lead to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for this act of sabotage. So in short, we feel it's time to contact us and tell us your story. After 19 years, it's time to stop looking over your shoulder and wondering when the past is finally going to catch up to the present. Those of you with information are encouraged to contact us at an email address that we've set up specifically for this case, aztrainderailment@ic.fbi.gov. Or you can always contact us at 1-800-CALL-FBI. So I want to thank you for coming, and thank you for your time. And at this time, I want to introduce Amtrak Chief of Police, Polly Hansen.
Good morning. As was mentioned, my name is Polly Hansen, and I'm the Chief of the Amtrak Police Department. On behalf of Amtrak's Board of Directors, CEO and President Joe Boardman, and Amtrak's 20,000 employees, I want to thank the FBI, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, and the United States Attorney's Office for their partnership and continued commitment to justice. As was mentioned, almost 20 years ago, in a remote location in the desert, not too far away from Phoenix, an Amtrak train was intentionally derailed. Over 100 of our passengers were injured, 12 of them seriously, and our employee, Mitchell Bates, was killed. I'm told that Mr. Bates no longer has living survivors, so I stand here representing his Amtrak family, who then and now were stricken and outraged because of his senseless loss, the tragic loss of a life. I think this renewed attention to this very sophisticated criminal act and the reward that's being offered will prompt those in the community, and there are those in the community that have information. So we hope that it will prompt them to come forward so that justice can finally be served.
That's our prepared statement. If there's any questions that we can entertain, it is an ongoing investigation. We'd like to answer as many questions you might have.
Why the timing right now?
Okay.
Is there some small opening you seem to have, or is it just so much past the time you think people are going to basically die?
So we did realize, I don't necessarily know about the exigent circumstances associated with anybody's health, so that doesn't exist. The time is now mainly because we feel that there's people out there that we've talked to that have information that can come forward. It's been 19 and a half years. It's time to bring this to closure. Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh, okay. Have you come up with anything you were locally liable in the past 2 decades? Something that might be
So investigation is revealed certain events, and we feel that there's individuals out there that know exactly what happened. And we're hoping that the reintroduction of the $310,000 award, which was provided in partnership with DOJ, Maricopa County Attorney's Office, and Amtrak, we feel that that money will help in our investigative efforts to bring somebody forward to finally provide the information that will push this over into potential prosecutorial efforts, to give us enough that we need for the indictment.
In 1998, you offered $320,000. Why the $310,000 figure?
I can't comment on exactly what the $320,000 figure represented in 1998, but I can comment that $250,000 is represented by DOJ, $50,000 is by Amtrak, and $10,000 is from the Maricopa County District Attorney's Office.
Have you ever been able to draw a conclusion as to whether the Sons of Gestapo were a real group or whether that was basically something thrown out?
That's not something we're prepared to comment on at this time.
Certainly this happened in the time frame of Waco and with the letter signed the Sons of Gestapo. Is this still, what bearing does that have on your investigation at this point?
To the extent that we can comment, it does not have an enormous amount of bearing on the investigation at this time.
Can you talk a little more about what opened the door? You inferred a bit that something else might have come up, you have maybe a few other leads. Can you talk more about that? When did that occur and how that happened?
Well, the investigation has been ongoing, and recently we've re-energized that investigation and we've conducted interviews. We feel that there's individuals that we've talked to and other individuals that have not talked to us that have information that will push this investigation forward.
Are there people who have been on the radar screen from the beginning that are still on the radar screen?
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate to what capacity, how often you talk to these people?
At that point, I think we're not going to elaborate any further on those types of issues associated with the investigation.
Or the remote locations in the middle of the desert that you referred to, do you think these people are Arizonans?
Well, based on the territory where this incident occurred, it has to be somebody with detailed knowledge of the desert. It's very rural, it's very difficult to get to, very difficult to navigate to, especially at a time in 1995 when GPS was not readily available. We did not have Google Earth to show you what was going on. They had to have a very, very distinct local knowledge of the area.
Do you think these are people known to the small handful of people who actually live in this area?
I believe there's individuals out there that know exactly what happened, and we're hoping that they will come forward at this time and take advantage of the $310,000 award.
How do you differentiate if I kind of knew what was going on at the time, but I wasn't really involved? I'm not saying myself included, but a person has information, they might have been involved, and they come forward. Would they get a reward if they were still involved somehow in this, but they kept their mouth shut for 20 years?
Well, I believe the question is to what extent is their knowledge of the incident, and are they complicit in the act? And that's going to be a decision for us in accordance with our partners in the U.S. Attorney's Office to figure out. That's not necessarily a decision that the FBI makes from an investigation standpoint.
Can we assume that whoever sabotaged this whole thing must have had some experience in the industry?
From an Amtrak standpoint, would you like to answer that question?
I would suggest that it was sophisticated. I would suggest that it was sophisticated enough. And once again, because we live in an age of Google and the internet, if you think back to 1995, the kind of information that somebody might have had to possess to do the derailment in the manner in which they did might suggest a familiarity with railroads.
When you offer a reward of this size, how effective are these rewards for you guys in getting more information, getting more leads?
We found they're very effective. We definitely anticipate, with your coverage and your cooperation, we definitely anticipate an increased amount of information coming in. To try to predict what the value of that information is going to be in advance, we're certainly hopeful that's going to advance our investigation, but at times we've also realized that it just increases our volume of leads that we have to track down.
How typical is it for you to do something like this, for the whole press conference and re-energize another bit of video report? How often do you use that?
That might be more of a question for our press office. I'm not exactly familiar with the FBI nationwide when we do this. I know that we've done it. I've been in Phoenix since 2007, and we've done it on several occasions since I've been here. A couple more questions, and then we'll call it.
You talk about the sophistication of this, but looking back at some of the report cards, they were saying that a Railroad magazine just months before this had published an article about a derailment in the late 1930s. So, I mean, did it really take a lot of sophistication? There was some indication that whoever may have perpetrated this may have looked at a Railroad magazine and an article similar to derailment many decades ago.
Well, I'm not an engineer, but I can safely say that the technology that the rail system in the United States had in the 1930s was significantly different than it is in 1995. So the fail-safes that were there in 1995 to indicate that there was a track separation, that didn't exist in previous years.
So this did require somebody.
Like we said, and like Chief Hansen said, it required a detailed knowledge of track operations. Any other questions?
I'm surprised, especially after 19 years, somebody didn't come forward. You know, with something of this magnitude, you think that somebody, whoever did this, or who did it, would brag about it to somebody. Do you know if you've heard anything along those lines, or it hasn't happened?
Well, we believe, as I've mentioned before, we've interviewed hundreds of people, and we believe out of those individuals, we think that they have additional information that they have not come forward with yet. So we are going to investigate all angles, all leads that are generated from this, and ongoing investigation, and we're going to bring it to closure. Plain and simple. I'd rather not comment at this time.
Is it fair to say just the sheer muscle required to move a piece of rail, et cetera, might require just a couple of people as opposed to one individual?
I don't know that that's necessarily the case. And going back to the Railroad magazine, who reads Railroad magazines? And then once again, before the internet, where would you even have access to that? So, you know, typical crews are a couple of people, but I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I think the focus here ought to be that it's never too late to do the right thing, and that nobody's going to stop until they find out who did this, which is evident by where we are and how long the FBI and our other partners have been investigating this. And so we're just very hopeful that somebody now will come forward with that missing piece of information to allow the responsible person or persons to be convicted of murdering an Amtrak employee and injuring hundreds of other people.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time, and thank you for coming today.
Okay, so this is Jeff Moriarty, and we're listening to an FBI press conference. Third back up, boom. On a reward being announced in the 1995 derailment of the Sunset Limited near Hyder, Arizona. This was a commuter train, an Amtrak train, no longer runs out of Phoenix, but at the time it did. And it ran, let me show you the spot here. Let's see if I can pull this up. And where this occurred. Get the map ready here. All right, so we're going to go over to Google Maps and show exactly where this occurred. So this was way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, really, really out there. So I'm going to switch to a Google Earth view here. And just because technology is not helping me here we go. Okay. So let's see if we can actually zoom in a bit more. Hey, look, this is just not going to cooperate with me today, is it? There we go. Okay. So this almost looks like it's showing the actual, yeah. So this is the actual bridge going over the wash. Chat up here. So apologize for the tech issues there. And what happened was, I'm going to zoom out and show you just how isolated this was. So this train left early in the morning, passenger train, and someone had derailed or had tampered with multiple rails along the train line, and they disconnected them. But normally when something like that happens, it breaks a circuit, it sets up a signal saying, hey, there's a train problem, or a problem with the tracks, I should say. So Amtrak or officials know about it and can divert trains and so on. And whoever did this did work around those controls. They connected the rails so that it still looked like the track was in one piece. So when this train hit it, going at full speed, it completely derailed. And 78 people were injured, 12 of them seriously, and one Amtrak employee was killed. But there was a note left that blamed it was the Sons of the Gestapo or some strange name like that. But the Sons of the Gestapo referenced Waco, referenced, I believe, Ruby Ridge. But that group doesn't seem to exist. And since then, the FBI is actually, from what I understand of the case, rather convinced that this was a completely made-up group, completely fictitious. There were some theories floated around that this was an Amtrak employee because of the knowledge that they had to have had to do this to the tracks and to get to this remote location. As you heard a little bit in the press conference, they remarked on the specific knowledge necessary to find this location, to get here. And we're gonna zoom out here and show just how isolated this was. In Ron Hoon's package that we played earlier, you could hear him talking to some people, and the people on the train had to help themselves. They worked to free each other from the tracks. They busted out windows. They rescued each other. It was people helping each other. We are still zooming out, and you are not seeing cities appear yet on the map, because that's exactly how far out we are in the middle of nowhere. So now you can see this green area up here is Phoenix, right? This is the Phoenix metro area. And let me see if I can get... I was hoping to get the city overlays on it here. So yeah, so that's even... Yeah, so here's the greater Phoenix area way up here, right? Peoria, Glendale. So this was actually, even that green area was just Buckeye, was way out there. And that accident occurred way out here. There is really nothing out there. It took a long time. It took a long time for emergency crews to get out there and to... Somebody causing trouble in the chat room there. I don't see him, so maybe somebody got rid of him already. If not, let me know. So there was some theory that this could be a disgruntled employee, or again, we'll kind of zoom back in here. Let's see just how isolated this spot was. For rescue crews to get out there took quite a while, and by that point, most of the people had actually been kind of triaged, got cleared from the actual train. And it's never been solved. And the FBI believes at this point somebody knows something. And when money is offered, sometimes people come clean. You know, something was mentioned in confidence years ago, and now they're willing to talk in exchange for money. So I'm going to play a video here, a clip. All right. And I've got Anita Roman. Covered this earlier. And so we are going to go to her and get an update with the FBI agent who was speaking at the press conference and see if we've got a little bit more information and why they think now, after all these years, offering money is going to change things.
Good morning. October 9th, 1995, an Amtrak worker killed, hundreds of people injured after someone derailed an Amtrak train just outside of Phoenix in a very remote desert area. Today, the FBI announcing a $310,000 reward. Joining us live, Special Agent Mark Quiner with the FBI. The question a lot of us are asking after this press conference, why today? Why now? Why 19 and a half years later?
Well, that's a great question. Basically, we feel that the announcement of $310,000 will help our investigative efforts and push things forward. We feel that over the term of this investigation, 19 and a half years, the time has come to bring it to closure. And we think that this money will directly assist our ability to push the investigation forward. We feel that there's people out there that know exactly what happened, and we feel that it's time for them to come forward and stop looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, talk about the importance of that. Somebody out there either talked about what they did, either assisted or saw it. It's important to come forward and help you guys solve this case. The Amtrak employee who passed away does not have any surviving relatives, but he has an Amtrak family who wants answers.
Absolutely, and not only for Mitchell Bates, who did pass away that day, Dan Comisano, who was the conductor on the train, was here in attendance today, and it's for him and all 258 on board, the 112 injured, that we're here today. And we just really want to send a message. We want to take this opportunity, in addition to the announcement of $310,000 reward, we want to take the opportunity to send a message to those of you out there and let you know that the FBI has a long history of perseverance with our investigations, and we're not going to give up. And we really have a simple message, that we're very close on this matter. We're watching, and we will bring you to justice.
Two things you guys mentioned during the press conference. Whoever did this, whether it was an individual or a group, had knowledge of the area, of the remote desert area, and most probably had knowledge of the trains, the tracks. Does that help you guys narrow it down at all?
We feel, without commenting on the exact, the specifics of the investigation, we feel that we've talked to individuals, and there's other individuals that have not spoken to us yet, but we feel that there's individuals out there that know exactly what happened that day.
And this is really a multi-agency effort, if you want to break it down for us. $310,000 reward. You guys are putting up $250,000.
That is correct. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, so DOJ at large, is putting up $250,000. So our partners together, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Amtrak is putting up $50,000, and the Maricopa County District Attorney's Office is also putting up $10,000.
All right, thanks so much for all the information. Good luck to you guys. Again, the FBI putting the information out today in hopes that somebody will see this. They say that when they put out a reward this significant, many people do tend to come forward, and they do hope to get more information. There is a website, AZ Train Derailment, at ic.fbi.gov. We will post that on either our Facebook page, we'll tweet it, or our website, just in case anyone has any information. They can email the FBI about this. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Anita. So the reward growing. The FBI agent is quite sure that that will knock some information loose. Sounds like they have some new information. They might not be releasing at this time, playing that kind of close to the vest, but hopefully they would be able to resolve this. After 20 years, it would be amazing to be able to put this case to rest and get some justice for the people who were injured and the man who was killed. So, saw some people talking Jody Arias in our chat window. Depending on where you're watching, if you do watch us right on our YouTube channel, you can chat. We have people from all over the world, some absolutely fantastic people who join us on a regular basis, chatting about the news. join us. Hop on in, say hello. It's a great group of people, and chat about the news, share your thoughts and ideas. We like this because it's interactive, not just us streaming out the news to you, but you can let us know what you think, and we can act accordingly. But Monday, starting at 8:30 a.m., Jodi Arias will be getting her final sentencing from the judge. There's a hearing that right now we're expecting to run all day, and we will be carrying that starting at 8:30 in the morning. So tune in here. We will carry everything from the courtroom. We will have a lot of the packages, a lot of the material from Jodi Arias that's run in the past, and we will be bringing that to you all day long. And like I said, there's a chat window. There are people, I'm going to go on a limb here, who have strong opinions on Jodi Arias. A little bit. If you're one of them, whatever you think, get in the chat window, discuss us with this, and we'll watch everything unfold together on Monday. And this is Fox 10 News Now. If you haven't joined us before, you can download our app from the Apple and Android stores. It is 100% free. The only thing better is if we paid you to do it, and we're not going to do that. So take free and run with it. You're going to get great access to news and stories all day long, as well as alerts to breaking news. Whenever we're on the air, there'll be a link right there that you can tap and tune in and join us. My name is Jeff Moriarty. I guess I should put my lower third back up there. We also tweet. If you are on Twitter, Fox 10 News Now, and we send out a tweet every time we go on the air, and generally when we change major topics or there's breaking news, so you can subscribe to that as well. All right. So, some late joiners, people who slept in a bit, asking where Samia is. Samia is on vacation today. I am a coworker of Samia's. I am the social media engagement manager here at the station, so I oversee our Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and a lot of this different stuff. And I help fill in for Samia when she just needs a break or when she's on vacation like she is today. But she will be back in the chair on Monday, and I will be helping her with Jodi Arias when that takes over again, the airwaves. So let's see, we have a couple more stories, nothing as big as the two that we've covered. I'm sure yes, it's Jeff Friday. That's what we've dubbed this. It's Friday on Jeff. You can probably figure out how I put those things together. So Samia likes to take off on Fridays. I think she has another one coming up, so there'll be another Jeff Friday in the future. Try to make these entertaining, a mix of serious stories when they break, as well as some things that are more lighthearted. So thank you, Jackie K. I like you too. All right, moving on. Let's see what I've got here. We covered Cottonwood. We looked at the Hyder News Conference. All right, let me queue up a video. Let's see. Am I going to do a tech talk today? I would love to, but I came in the door and immediately set up these events, our streaming events, and got caught up on news and plopped down in this chair and have been working on live streaming since then. So I have no idea what's going on in the world of tech. I know the Apple Watch came out today. Well, not came out. Today's the first day that you could go into the Apple Store, and the camera moved again, and now it makes me look real short. So, okay, so you can go into the Apple Store and take a look at it and place an order. So I haven't seen a report yet on how orders are coming, so I'll take a look at that, see what else is going on, and hopefully we can do some tech talk later on. Oh yes, Patrick reminded me about my tasing video. In the press conference for the Cottonwood earlier, we were looking at the people there were tased multiple times, and I mentioned that I had been tased in the past, and it was not pleasant, so it was rather impressive to me that anyone could get up after that. Of course, then everybody wanted to know why I was getting tased. And the reason was, at the time, I was doing I was doing some social media work for companies here in town, and Taser is actually based here in the valley. So I was out at Taser at the time, and they asked before we left, would anyone actually want to get tased? And I figured, why not? How often do you get a chance to get tased where you're not actually doing something wrong, and you have everyone there to take care of you if things go wrong? So I think I've got this queued up here, and it's been a while since I've watched this. Oh boy, yeah, well, my hair doesn't look different, the rest of me is a bit. We'll go through this real quick. We'll talk about the Taser. This was 4 years ago. This is at Taser headquarters. I'd just given a talk working with the Taser people at the time. They asked if I wanted to be tased, and what you're going to see is the following. They are prepping an X26 Taser, which is the full police Taser, which is very likely what they were using here in the videos up in Cottonwood. So I've removed, I had a dress shirt on, I removed that, so I'm just wearing a t-shirt at the time, because what happens is there are two small barbs. They look like little harpoons, and those come out of the Taser, and they embed in your flesh. They just shoot right into you. Thunk. That might sound painful. You don't notice it because of the overwhelming burst of electricity that is now coursing through your body. So really, the little poke with the harpoons, not a problem. Really just not a concern. So then what happens is the two people that you're going to see on either side of me are there to prevent me from falling. Because what happens is when that electricity hits you, it's, if you've ever had a Charlie horse, like in your leg where that muscle cramps up, it's like a body-wide Charlie horse. My entire body clenched up, and if you've watched tasing videos online, you get a whole lot of different reactions. Some people scream, some people wail, some people wet their pants. Managed not to do that, so personal goal there that I managed to meet. And it lasts for 5 seconds, and it seems a lot longer than just 5 seconds. We apparently have a class of some kind coming through the, again, I can't turn the camera around, it's rather amusing. Students, they all have cameras. There's cameras, filming cameras. One of them has a selfie stick. It's an interesting crew of people. Maybe they'll stop by. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this video. I don't remember everything that's in it. I know when I get up, I talk to one of the people who work at Taser about it. He walks me through it. I got to keep the whole little discharge pellet, or the cartridge. The Tasers are really amazing little tools. In addition to the charge that they use for 5 seconds, and they could continue to recharge that. So they zap me for 5. They could keep hitting the trigger for additional 5 seconds. That's recorded into the Taser. So they could take that cartridge and look at it, and in a computer, see how many times it was discharged. So to make sure it matches up with the police account. There's also individual, little tiny pieces of paper that come out of it. This might have changed a little bit since this was done, but it uniquely identifies that cartridge. So you can see, you'd be able to look at these on the ground and say, okay, exactly which cartridge was used to shoot this particular individual. And they completely exhausted their tasers in the Cottonwood video. So I am going to go to this video here, I request. This is me 4 years ago at Taser headquarters getting hit with a taser.
All right, we're good.
Is everybody ready? All right, here we go.
Jeff getting tased.
Taser, taser, taser.
Oh, God. Oh. You're good. You're good, Jeff. Wow. You're done. All right. That is
Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up or stand up. You're good. How do you feel?
See?
Down.
Just get the probe later back.
What was your
You guys want to go over and video
reaction?
the probes?
Gut reaction? Intense. I mean, it was just, yeah, it was more the locking of everything than the pain. I mean, it was just, nothing was doing what I wanted it to do versus it really hurt.
What was it? Did you feel,
That was stuck
did you
in.
feel contractions?
That one's in the clothing.
Pain?
I think it was more pain from the contractions. It felt, I felt it just go right down my legs. They locked up. And then they were lowering me down. So I wanted to catch myself, but nothing was obeying or paying attention to what I wanted it to do.
Did you feel the probes? Did you feel the probes when they went in? Or did you feel electricity?
No, it was just snap and then.
That's it. Looks like a bee sting.
That's it. Did you feel it coming out?
Did you feel it coming out?
Not really.
Yeah, you really don't feel it coming out.
And that's what the first thing everybody fears when they see that, or what the probes look like, but that's the least of your concerns. All we want to do is get you down for 5 seconds, to give you a window of opportunity for the police officers to control you, cuff you, you're done. Could you have fought back during that?
Oh, no.
Now, how do you feel now? I mean, could you go back to your job, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, my legs are still a little tight. I mean, it's like a body-wide Charlie horse. Yep. And
Now-
just kind of tightened up and then...
Was that a full charge?
Full 5 seconds. He rode the buffalo. That was a full.
Yeah, you can't ride
Rode the buffalo.
Rode the buffalo.
That was a full ride, and that's called a one cycle hit 5 seconds. Now, if we compare this to a baton strike, you'd be in some serious pain. Would have done some physical damage. Pepper spray would have been an acid in your eyes. You'd be burning for the next 40 minutes. This is a very clean solution, much more humane.
Now, are there other problems? Like, let's say I put my arm up and I'd have gotten like the here, or what? How does that impact the effect?
Certainly, if we'd had asphalt here, you could have gotten abrasions from that, some bruises, and that's atypical of about the worst case scenario you see out there most of the time. 99.75% of the people have no significant injury. You were just falling down and we would have cuffed you. That's how quick it is. It's a pretty simple and clean solution. And yet, also, if you made a complaint against the police and said they tortured you to this, hit you like 20 times, that weapon you just used has a data port download. It's encrypted. It would show exactly how the duration, when it was used, and it corroborates the police officer's report. So there's the accountability, safety, and effectiveness.
So could that be maintained if I was getting up or something? You think it could have gone longer than the 5?
Absolutely. He's a former police officer. He could have been there and controlling it, overriding that trigger to go beyond the 5 seconds. He could have triggered it once to give you another 5 seconds. If they got you cuffed and say 6 seconds, they could shut it off anytime. Awesome. You're plugged in. Once they have the probes in, you're plugged in. Now that we've unplugged it, if it's a throwaway, disposable. Awesome.
Final remarks?
No scream.
And we have a tradition in the training department. Man. Right? You earned your coin. Now read it.
What's it say?
Ride for 5.
That's
the right there.
Very nice.
Put it in your hand. I thought you were going to give me like a hand
Exactly.
shot.
Yeah.
Like,
Final
oh, man,
remarks. What do you want to say?
Highly recommended. Great time.
Wow.
All right, so that was me getting tased back about 4 years ago. So a couple things from there. I saw some of the questions go by in the chat room. Rode the buffalo. So that's the term they had for taking the full 5-second hit from a police grade taser. I still have that coin. Didn't know I was going to be talking about it, or I'd have brought it in. If someone's interested, I could bring it in another day. I have the charge as well. The actual capsule and the 2 little harpoons that were stuck in my back. I did not feel them going in. I did not feel them coming out. So you saw there where he braced, and those things were just embedded right in my back. They look just like the edge of a harpoon. They were in there fully solid. You saw the big red welt on my back. Did not feel a thing. Now, as soon as it hit, I mean, immediately, my entire body locked up. And, the guys lowered me to the floor. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't trying to move. I wasn't enraged. I wasn't on drugs. I didn't have any motivation to, run away. I'd volunteered to do it. So, could I have done something? Maybe, I guess, depending on how wired I was, so to speak. But really, I didn't have, there wasn't much I could do. It also faded, how well you could hear that discussion. So I was there with 6 other people, and they all volunteered not to do it. They opted out when Taser asked us. So they were the ones who nicely videotaped me, the cowards. But as soon as it was done, it just felt like when a Charlie horse is the best way to explain it. A little stiff after it wore off, but I was okay. I mean, they wanted me to stay down for a second, and then I was able to hop right back up. A little achy, but no big problems, which is one of the advantages, according to Taser, about that device. Once it's done, it doesn't have the the damage of a baton or the asps, as we heard in the Cottonwood video, or pepper spray, which is just nasty, nasty stuff if you've ever been subjected to it. How big are the harpoons? I see questions there. I would say they're probably the entire, if I remember right here, it's been a while. I was about to say the length of my little finger, and about half of that is the little blade, and it just comes to a little jagged little knife at the end. Why did I volunteer to do it? It's one of those things, it's only 5 seconds long, was my theory at the time. It was a unique experience. I'm a big believer in trying new things and seeing where life takes you. And it was an opportunity not a lot of people get. Most people, if they get tased, it's because they're going to be on the news doing something wrong. This was a chance to check it out in a totally safe environment with full professionals there. My mind didn't really go blank, but somebody said it didn't seem like it was that long. Get tased and then tell me how long that seems, because I could have sworn, so it's 5 seconds, full 5-second charge, and it felt like, I don't know, half an hour. I mean, it was a couple seconds in, and I'm like, why is this still going? I can't believe this is still happening. And then, it just seemed to be going on and on and on, and then finally it stopped. And it's that, if you've ever been in a car accident or a case of extreme stress, all that adrenaline hits you, and time just seems to slow down. And that's where I was. So it seemed a lot longer than 5 seconds. But it's amazing to me. It gives me a personal perspective when I see how many times those people were tased in the Cottonwood video, the amount of shocks that they took, and they just kept coming. So I think there's going to be a lot more that we're going to learn about that particular case. The police chief was only able to talk about the video. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more about the charges and so on. Try labor, suggests Halala426. I will pass on that for both technical and personal reasons. Not able to do it, and nope, don't want to. I think, if I was going to do that, I would be all in favor of the ye old epidural. So, but it is an intensely painful experience, and I understand why people get upset when they have that happen to them. Okay, so let's move on from these stories and move on to something else. Let's see here. Let's take a look at some of the tornado videos. Illinois. Right here. Now I have a couple of tornado packages here, and I have not seen them. Something here. Okay, thank you. More information coming in. All right. All right. So the first thing that we have, sorry about that, was getting handed something, got some text popping up, multitasking here. But we have here some tornadoes, some Midwest storm package. Let me see. Got some audio on this. All right, so I've got a couple packages here, some things on these storms that have hit Illinois. So we're going to go take a look at this incredible visual footage. So stick with us a bit longer as we head into the lunchish hour. And bring this up.
A massive line of thunderstorms and tornadoes causing widespread destruction throughout the Midwest. In Missouri, strong storms swept through overnight, toppling trees and causing power outages and flooding.
As soon as we got to the porch, everything came down at once.
I was really scared. Everyone on the bus was just screaming out loud.
Flooding also the main concern in parts of Michigan and Wisconsin, where this storm system comes just days after another big series of thunderstorms hit the area.
They have a finished basement with carpeting. It's just, you can see standing water on top of carpet.
A lot of standing water, yep. It's not draining off the streets quick enough.
But the far northwest suburbs of Chicago got hit the hardest. Tornado funnels reported in the town of Rochelle as it was being pummeled by the storm. Folks there helping each other out any way they can.
Just digging mud, putting fences back together, trying to herd the cows back, and it's, it's kind of, your heart goes out to them, but like you said, we're a community, and if one person's in need, we're all going to be there.
And here in Fairdale, you can see a scene of complete destruction. The town literally flattened when the tornadoes moved through. Almost every building now destroyed or heavily damaged.
We have huge debris piles that we have to be careful. We have to take our time and get through them.
Crews from the National Weather Service starting to assess the damage today, but the threat of more violent weather lingers as storms push through the Ohio Valley. In Fairdale, Illinois, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Wow, so we've got another package on that, some tornado footage. I thought the first one was from Illinois. That was from a bit further south here. But some tornadoes coming up, and then we'll look at the anatomy of a tornado. None of our weather people are available right now, but this afternoon I'm sure we can get Mr. Dave Muncie up here to talk about some of the storms and other damage that's happened. For a second here. Alright, so now I have another package that is, or a VO here that I have not seen yet again. And we are going to take a look at some tornadoes. This is from Fairdale. And wow, got 2 minutes of this here. Let me cue this up.
Getting good. Let's go north. Let's go north. Oh my God! Horizontal. Oh my God! This is violent. You guys, it's right there, right there.
Stop. We're good. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It hit cars. It hit cars.
Look at there goes cars. What?
Oh
I saw headlights go flying.
Oh my gosh. Josh, you need to stop.
No. Keep going. Keep going. We'll go slow. Fine. We'll go slow. Fine. We'll go slow. Oh my God. We need to see if anybody's all right. We need to go. Just call 911 probably if we need help.
Oh, it's hitting something. Wow, this weird shape. Look at debris.
Jeez.
Oh! Call 911. That was a videotape the time.
And y'all thought I was a little crazy for getting tased? Holy cow. Alrighty, we're going to go back and watch some of that again. Oh, man. Okay, so a couple things. First, on the audio. So it's not actually that my mic is low, it's actually all the way up. We are working on some of our audio issues up here. One of the problems we've had in the past, you long-term viewers might remember this, is that you couldn't hear clips at all. So now we've worked on boosting those, and we're still playing around with the levels a little bit, trying to balance them to make sure everything comes out okay. Apologize for... you should be able to hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'm showing audio on the board here, but we're trying to get everything kind of in balance. Still working with that. Apologize for that. Always let me know if you get that huge audio switch. We're trying to keep that consistent. So, a couple things in here. First, amazing footage across the board. I don't have a lot of information. Let's see if in some of this I have some information on these storms. Clearly, these guys were storm chasers. I have a friend of mine who's a storm chaser and has done a lot of this. He tends to chase more thunderheads than tornadoes, but he's done a little bit of that as well. Love to get him in here for an interview sometime. The other video, I mean, some of the other clips in here, the fact that they are driving into that, or you can see other people driving towards the storm. Now, I grew up in Minnesota. I've been, it was in several tornadoes up in Minnesota. I was at a very small earthquake in California once, one of these little tiny, barely. Was that an earthquake? You're not really sure until you hear about it later on the news. So I don't know if I'd really count that. The very edge of a hurricane once when I was in Florida. Again, we didn't have to like batten down, just got a lot of rain from it. It was kind of a near miss sort of thing. So the closest I've ever been to a real disaster is tornado. Not fun. If I saw anything like that, goodbye. Well, if I wasn't trying to drive away, I would be hunkered down. And you saw some cars under some of the overpasses, which is one of the places it tells you if you are on the road to go get under an overpass on the freeway and then get up under the concrete. You're more likely to be safe there. Now, there was one point where you talked about being able to see headlights in the tornado of a car picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back up and see if you guys can help me spot it. All right, we'll bring this up here. I think it was about this point in the video I heard this. So if you see it, let me know. Got it about as high quality as I can take it. Audio down so I can keep going.
Oh my God, this is violent. You guys, it's right there, right there.
Stop. We're good. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It hit cars. It hit cars.
Look at there goes cars. What?
Oh my God.
I saw headlights go flying. Oh my gosh.
Josh, you need to stop.
No. Keep going. Keep going.
We'll
We're
go
fine.
slow.
We're fine.
We'll go slow.
Oh my God. We need to see if anybody's all right. We need to go.
Yeah, I did not see headlights. Go back one more time. I did not see it.
You guys, it's right there, right there.
Stop. We're good. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Oh my God.
It hit cars. It hit cars.
Look at there goes cars. What?
Oh my God.
I saw headlights go flying. Oh my gosh.
Josh, you need to stop.
No. Keep going.
Yeah,
Keep going.
we'll go slow.
We'll go slow.
Headlights going through.
Oh my God.
There,
We need to see if anybody's all right.
Surprised
We need to
given
go.
the size of that tornado. Have you ever seen a storm chaser vehicle, one of these really hardcore ones that chases tornadoes? They're specially built, really reinforced. It's very, very low to the ground. They don't want air to get caught under them, which can pull it up in the air. So we get very close to the ends, which is why they're not just in an SUV or a van.
It's hitting something.
Which is why their vehicle seems pretty stable. Then you see this unfortunate tractor trailer ahead of them.
We are taking. Okay.
Cut to a second. Boom. Wow.
Oh! Call 911. That was
So you can see they're on the road there.
Videotape.
All right, now someone in the chat room said they thought that perhaps that was lightning. And I don't know. If it was just a regular person, I might think so. Just a second here. All right. So now all you hear is me mumbling. I cannot get my audio levels here. Well, everything is the same, so if you're still having audio problems from me, let me know. But if those were not professional storm chasers, then yeah, I might think that's lightning. But those guys do this for a living, and I did not see anything in there. I was looking really close. I'd expect it to be very close to the ground. Alfredo says could have been the adrenaline. Absolutely could have been. And I would not, given the power that it looks like that hurricane had and how close it was to vehicles, absolutely would not be shocked to find that it lifted some vehicles off the ground. I have not heard if there were the fatalities or anything related to this tornado, so I again can't comment on that. Now I do have something. It's the anatomy of a tornado, and that elicited a number of smart aleck comments in the chat room, which I appreciate. But this is the weather-based anatomy of a tornado, and this is a VO, so we're just going to have to take a look at the video as we go. Let me bring over to this here. So what you're seeing here is, I'm going to pause it for a second. So these are the kind of formations up in the sky that storm chasers really look for when they're figuring out where funnel clouds are going to show up. So there's both storm chasers on the ground and weather people, the National Weather Service. They're looking for these anvil clouds. They're looking for this change in, looks like it's cropping it off a little bit here. Let me expand this so you can see everything. Hopefully. All right, there we go. It's a little bit better. So then you see as it moves forward, you get the rain up front, and then you get hail, and you get the funnel clouds dropping behind. So Alfredo is having weather spotter class all over again. Let's see a peek inside. You get the cold air mixing with the warm, humid air, and that's what causes that rotation. And it looks kind of small compared to the big cloud overhead, but they are obviously incredibly, incredibly powerful. So I'll play that one more time, uninterrupted. Amazing amount of power in those clouds. The ones that I've been in, I mean, it just sounded like, they say it sounds like a locomotive or a train, and that's exactly what it sounded like to me as it got close. So, yeah, I am quite happy watching video of this and never being this close to one again. Thank you very, very much. Let's see, one other big story I want to comment on here, and that is an unfortunate death, Raul Castro, who is not the Cuban Raul Castro, but this is Raul Hector Castro, passed away. And Raul Castro was the first and only Latin governor of Arizona. And he served from, he's a Mexican-born American politician. He was the 14th governor of Arizona from 1975 to 1977. First Mexican-American to be elected governor of Arizona. And he was 98 when he passed away. We have a picture of him here. And current Arizona Governor Doug Ducey said Castro lived a full life of exemplary service to Arizona and its people. He was an honorable public servant, a history maker, a beloved family man, and a strong friend and fighter for Arizona. He was a self-made man, the embodiment of the American dream. He overcame poverty and discrimination to graduate from college and launch a successful career in politics and diplomacy. So Governor Castro's term in Arizona predates my coming to the state, but I'd heard quite a bit about him. He sounds like an amazing individual, and our thoughts and condolences go out to his friends and family. A loss for them as well as the state. So we'll get some more information on Governor Castro's passing. And hopefully, I think Mia said she was going out to talk to Governor Ducey about that when she left this morning, and we will talk with her hopefully this afternoon. All right, let's see here. We got a couple other packages. All right, we have a story that Nicole Garcia looked at last night, and it's a fight over power lines. And I don't know if any of you have ever lived near high-tension power lines. Some people don't mind them at all. Some people like the fact that a lot of places in the valley where they go through, you get a lot of wide open space. Other people claim that they provide, they cause headaches or cause other health issues. So when these power lines are being run across the state, there's often a big battle about where they're going to be run. And Nicole Garcia took a look at a battle that's waging, as often happens, over a power line route here in Arizona. So let's take a look at that.
Our community do not want to see in their neighborhoods. But if SRP gets its way, these 230,000 kilovolt power lines will be going up.
It's too much power up in the air. We have to listen to that, hum and buzz and pop all night and all day, and we got to look at it. It's horrible what they're talking about doing.
More than 50 homes, including Schoenberger's house, would be just 150 feet away from the towers. The new transmission towers would be more than twice as tall and even more powerful than the current power lines that run through the neighborhood. Neighbors say they would bring down property values and create an eyesore.
We don't want these lines up in the air. Everything that they're talking about doing is going to be detrimental to the communities that surround this area.
They want SRP to bury the power lines underground, as is done in other communities. But the utility says that would come at a $30 million price tag for all SRP customers.
The cost differential to bury a line as opposed to build it above ground is about 11 times more expensive. It will cost us about $900,000 a mile to build it standard above ground. It would cost us about $11 million a mile to bury it.
SRP says this is all part of a bigger picture. The utility wants to increase the amount of energy to the Price Road corridor, a hub for high-tech, big-money companies like Intel and Orbital Sciences. The goal is to amp up the power to attract more high-tech companies, which would grow the economy.
All of those companies over there, okay, They should be pitching in. You've got a company, I'm going to pick on Intel for a minute. They make billions of dollars a quarter in profit. There's no reason they couldn't dig into their slush fund and help the community that they are in pay to bury these lines.
So a big fight, and I think I saw all sides of it just laid out in our chat room. I mean, some people view it as, hey, this is serving power to very, very wealthy, powerful companies like Intel, and shouldn't they be able to, if they have the power demands, foot the extra cost? But the SRP claims the cost significance, $900,000 to $11 million per mile. That's a lot, and if you take what they're saying as gospel, then that's a huge chunk of change that they are not going to want to pay out. So it comes down to cost. Completely understand why people don't want that built near their homes, but we are a power-hungry state, especially coming up here on the summer when air conditioners kick in and power demands go up and power bills go up. It is we're a growing city still, and there's a huge demand that SRP and APS have to meet. And these power lines, if they come through someone's neighborhood, I completely understand why they are not happy. So that was Nicole Garcia taking a look at that. We have a number of things that we're going to be looking at this afternoon. We're probably going to look at the Cottonwood dash cam a little bit more, see if we have some more information from Steve Kraft, have him come up and talk about it, maybe take us through that video again, now that all of you are taser experts, since you were able to watch me get zapped. We'll take a look at stories that have been breaking across the day, hopefully get a little bit more information about Raul Castro's passing. We have those tornado videos, maybe bring in Dave Muncie to look at those. Also a plane making a belly landing, and some people camping out at Coachella. A few other packages we have set up for you this afternoon. Take a look at the Dow here, which appears to be up. There we go. It wasn't cooperating with me there for a second. Dow looks like it's going up quite nicely right now. You can hear some of the buzz from the New York Stock Exchange floor. As it closes up, a good way to end the week. A little bit of a dip early on. Up 94 points at the moment. We don't normally get into a lot of financial stuff here, but we do keep an eye on it when there's news to bring to you. And with that, I am going to wrap up for right now. We are going to work to get that footage online for the Cottonwood body cam. If you want to find that on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Fox10Phoenix. We will have, again, Monday morning, 8:30 a.m., Jodi Arias. The sentencing is coming down for her. We expect it to be an all-day hearing, and we will be carrying everything that we can carry. There are a few limitations on some of the witnesses and people who might be speaking that we can air, but we are working around that. We'll also have other footage, video, comments, packages we've aired in the past. Some of course, Troy Hayden's material. He's unfortunately not going to be here with us on Monday, but Sami will be back in the chair. I'll be working with her, and we will have a whole lot for you then. We have an app. Yes, we do. iPhone, Android, download it. It's free. Fox 10 Phoenix is the name of the app, and you'll get an alert, and you can tune in on your phone every time we go live. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. We are in so many places. You can just fill your life with Fox 10 Phoenix, and wouldn't your life be happier for that effort? Well, you'd at least be more well-informed, if not happier. So, I am Jeff Moriarty, filling in for Samia Khan, who is on vacation. And we appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back up in a couple hours, and that concludes it for me. So thank you. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday. See you soon.